You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
Today is Friday, May 14th, 2021, and this is your daily Star Trek news from the Roddenberry Podcast Network. On today's show, the Nimoy family teams up with LA Care Health Plan to encourage COVID-19 vaccinations. Star Trek guest actor Norman Lloyd has passed away at the age of 106. I've got this week's virtual Star Trek events and, of course, the answer to this week's Trek trivia. I'm Alison Pitt, and today's show is supported by people like you through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/Daily Star Trek News. Earlier this week, the LA Care Health Plan announced a partnership with the family of the late Star Trek actor Leonard Nimoy. The Live Long and Prosper billboard and social media campaign is targeted at encouraging vaccination against COVID-19, as well as the continued use of face masks to prevent the spread of the disease. Details of the campaign announcement were posted to StarTrek.com. Billboards used in the campaign will feature masked individuals and a brief message encouraging vaccination. LA Care is the largest publicly operated healthcare plan in the United States and has long been a proponent of vaccinations and mask use during the course of the pandemic. The collaboration with the Nimoy family, along with permission from Viacom-CBS, is intended to further their efforts in a city that has struggled in the fight against COVID-19. Dare I say, it was the logical thing to do. We were honored to be approached by the Nimoy family after they saw our billboards showing masked individuals, said John Backus, LA Care's CEO. Leonard Nimoy and the beloved phrase, "Live long and prosper," will forever hold a place in our hearts, and we know they can help us get out the word about some very important steps that will help us all protect ourselves and our loved ones. Julie Nimoy, daughter of the late actor and co-founder of the Los Angeles-based organization Remembering Leonard Nimoy, commented on the deep meaning of Mr. Spock's iconic expression, saying, "The phrase 'live long and prosper' spreads a message that my dad strongly believed in, not only for a long and healthy life, but it also represents peace, tolerance, diversity, and unity. This project really is a continuation of his mission on lung health." Leonard Nimoy was diagnosed with chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder, or COPD, in 2013, and spent the remaining 2 years of his life raising awareness about the progressive lung disease. The Nimoy family sees the collaboration with LA Care as an extension of Nimoy's work, believing that the actor would have encouraged mask use and vaccination against COVID-19. The Live Long and Prosper billboard and social media campaign is expected to continue through at least the end of 2021. Now, next up, Star Trek The Next Generation guest star Norman Lloyd, who played Captain Picard's mentor, Professor Galen, in the 6th season episode The Chase, has died. Lloyd, whose career spanned over 8 decades and brought him alongside Hollywood legends like Alfred Hitchcock and Charlie Chaplin, was 106 years old when he passed away Tuesday in Los Angeles, as confirmed by his son Michael to the Associated Press. Lloyd's TNG guest role as famed Federation archaeologist Galen was brief but memorable, giving insight into Jean-Luc Picard and his time at Starfleet Academy. In the reference book Star Trek The Next Generation 365, episode director Jonathan Frakes said of Lloyd, "He was a wonderful storyteller and a brilliant actor. We were so lucky to have this guy on our show." Lloyd had a long and fascinating career, detailed in a retrospective by the British newspaper The Guardian. Beginning in the theater at age 17, Lloyd was a charter member of Orson Welles' famed Mercury Theater Group in the 1930s. His on-screen career began on television in 1939, and 3 years later he began a long friendship with Alfred Hitchcock, playing a villain in the classic Hitchcock film Saboteur. His promising career was sidelined during the famous McCarthy Hollywood witch hunts, after which Hitchcock helped him find work as a producer and director. Lloyd's acting career was revived in the 1970s, and in 1982 he returned to television for what is probably his best-known role, Dr. Aushlander, on the medical drama St. Elsewhere, which ran for 6 years. Afterwards, his acting career took him to big screen roles in films like Dead Poets Society, and guest starring roles in shows such as Star Trek and Murder, She Wrote. His most recent appearance at the age of 101 was in the 2015 comedy Trainwreck. Please join us at Daily Star Trek News in offering condolences to Norman Lloyd's family. I've got the answer to Tuesday's trivia in just a moment, but first, a quick word from me. This show is supported by people like you through Patreon. Your financial support helps us cover recurring costs like hosting and distribution, and it also helps us invest in the future, finding better ways to bring you more of the Star Trek news you need to know wherever you are. To find out more, just head to patreon.com/Daily Star Trek News. You can contribute from just $1 a month, and with a 16% discount on an annual membership, you can support us for a whole year for around $10. That's patreon.com/Daily Star Trek News, and a big thanks to you for supporting this show. And now it's time for this week's events. First up, this Saturday, May 15th at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, Star Trek 2009 star Eric Bana will be taking part in a virtual conversation about his new movie, The Dry, based on the global best-selling novel of the same name. The event is put on by American Cinematheque and is moderated by Ken Nolan. The conversation is expected to cover The Dry as well as a career retrospective. This event is free with registration. For more information, visit americancinematheque.com. Next up, it's a real treat. Sunday, May 16th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time, Media Meltdown presents Deep Space Nine, a drag show. They say, our wormhole is lubed and ready to take a whole Dominion fleet. We're heading to everyone's favorite Bajoran space station to see Captain Sisko and the gang. A full evening of incredible drag performers paying loving homage to one of the greatest sci-fi TV shows of all time. So grab a Jumja stick and put on some lipstick. We're heading to Deep Space Nine. The show is free to watch, but a cover donation is encouraged. You can find out more about the event on Facebook at facebook.com/Media Meltdown SF, or watch on the day at twitch.tv/Media Meltdown. Looking ahead to next Wednesday, May 19th at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, Variety is hosting executive producer Alex Kurtzman and star Sonequa Martin Green for an exclusive screening of Star Trek Discovery, followed by a Q&A. Links to all these events are available on dailystartreknews.com. Just click on Events on the homepage. And if you've got an event that you'd like for me to promote on the show, then please let me know at info@dailystartreknews.com. And now, without further ado, it's the answer to this week's Trek Trivia. On Tuesday, I asked you, in the Star Trek The Next Generation Season 3 episode Captain's Holiday, several different parties, including Vash, the Ferengi Sovak, and 2 Vorgons from the future, were trying to find a hidden device. But what was the name of the object, and what was its special power? The answer? The object was called the Tox-Utot, and it was a quantum phase inhibitor, a device capable of stopping all nuclear reactions within a star. The Tox-Utot, which looked like a palm-sized crystal, was invented by a scientist named Cal Dano in the 27th century. To hide it from criminals, including the 2 Vorgons who've already tried to steal it, Dano brought the Utot back in time to 22nd century Ryza and buried it inside a cave. Over the years, the Utot became a local legend until it was discovered by Vash in the 24th century and was subsequently destroyed by Picard. For more Trek trivia, tune in next Tuesday. Right, there's one last thing before I go, and it's just a big thank you to you if you've made it to the end, and for those of you who have been watching Daily Star Trek News from the beginning, thank you for hanging in there with me. It's been a whopping 500 episodes of Daily Star Trek News. It's an amazing milestone, and we couldn't have done it without your support, so thank you very much. Well, that's it for today's Daily Star Trek News from the Roddenberry Podcast Network. Don't forget to check out the other great shows on the network at podcasts.roddenberry.com. Daily Star Trek News is produced by me, Alison Pitt, and written by Chris Peterson and Jack Brown, with events by Marina Kravchuk and trivia by Peter Hong. We're supported by people like you through Patreon. Find out how you can add your support at patreon.com/Daily Star Trek News. And finally, please make sure that you're signed up for the Daily Star Trek newsletter at dailystartreknews.com/contact. Get all the day's Star Trek news delivered straight to your inbox every weekday morning. I'm back on Monday with more of the Star Trek news you need to know. I'm Alison Pitt. Have a wonderful weekend. And live long and prosper.
This is a Roddenberry podcast. For more great podcasts, visit podcast.roddenberry.com.